So I always say, you have to make the best decision for you. There are a lot of women that's saying, oh, no, they're going to judge this podcast and say, well, that's on her because I could never. Well, that's you.
This
is my walk.
Exactly.
And it's working for me.
Exactly.
What we do. Girl, you's a boss mom. Baby girl, you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss mom. Making everything worth it. Girl, you's a boss mom. Stand on all of your business. And when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest. Girl, you's a boss mom. Baby girl, you so perfect. Girl, you's a boss mom. Making everything worth it. Girl, you's a boss mom. Stand on all of your business. And when it come to investments, and baby girl, you the realest.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Tammy Capri, and we are here on the very first episode of the Boss Mom Huddle. Now, y'all know it's been a long time coming for me to do this platform, going through different platforms of podcasting, and now we are here on my very own one, the Boss Mom Huddle. And today I have with me a very special guest. Everyone, please welcome Miss Stacia Randall to our show. Hi, Stacia.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, girl, I wouldn't have it any other way. Look, when I heard about your story and when my assistant reached out to me and let me know about you, I was like, yo, we got to get her on this podcast. And then when I met you, I'm like, yo, her energy was just amazing. Her energy was amazing. So we got to bring this boss mom to the podcast.
Yes,
so
excited. Thank you.
Welcome. And you are our very first guest. And like I told you, you're making history right now. So I truly appreciate you, truly.
And I'm honored.
Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you?
Well, my name is Stacia Harvey-Randall. I'm originally from Berwick, Louisiana. I spent the majority of my years in New Orleans for about 22 years, and then I came over to Atlanta. I have a long history of working in the hospitality industry. If anyone recognizes me, I worked for many different brands. I started off as a front desk agent, and now I'm a director of human resources at one of the prominent hotels in Buckhead. I have a beautiful daughter named Alacia. She is the reason why I'm here today, because I wouldn't be here if I wasn't a mom. Her name is Alacia, and she is 8 years old. I'm also married. I've been happily married for 10 years to my husband, Austin. I also am the co-founder of a nonprofit organization called Black Women of Hospitality. And I am currently starting my own business, which is called Elevated Vocals.
Nice. You do a lot. You are doing the thing. I thought I was busy.
Yes.
22 years. So, okay, so let's back up just a little bit. New Orleans. You started your hospitality journey in New Orleans, and then you converted over to here in Buckhead. Well, first of all, you said you top dog here in Atlanta now, so I know you got the hookup. So I'm gonna be calling you. Like, Miss Stacia, I need you, girl.
I need you, girl.
So how was that transition? How was that move, first of all, relocating?
So it was challenging. I was afraid, because I was like, I'm going to this bigger city.
Yeah.
You know, coming from Berwick and going to New Orleans, I just thought I had already made it.
So is Berwick, is that a smaller?
Very small town.
Okay.
So when I went to New Orleans, I felt like I was going to Hollywood. You know, and when I got to New Orleans and really started, absorbing everything that happens in a city, from traffic to nightlife, to, my community only had maybe 2 or 3 stoplights. So
it was really like night and day.
So it was night and day.
Okay.
Even from the clothing, the way people dress, like I had to transition everything. When I got to the city, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm wearing this and they don't wear this. So I had to kind of find myself through college, and I was a very good observer. So I knew how to observe what others were doing, wearing, saying, and tried to blend in.
Okay.
But I still had to find me.
Who you were, right.
Because I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
I wanted to, of course, be able to adapt to the culture, but be able to embrace my personality and let it show.
Right.
So after I felt like I was outgrowing New Orleans and I wasn't being able to advance in my career, I said it's time to kick it up a notch. And I chose Atlanta because I had evacuated here after a hurricane.
Oh, okay. After Katrina.
It was actually after Hurricane Gustav.
Okay.
After Katrina.
I don't know Gustav.
You don't know Gustav.
I don't know Gustav.
But Gustav, it did a little something.
Okay.
And I left for the weekend.
Okay.
And I came here. And when I started driving the interstates, and I was just like, yes, just seeing all these buildings, I was like, I'm moving here. And I ended up getting a job interview that same weekend.
It was a line. It was a line.
It was already lined up. So by the time I got home Tuesday, I had a job offer.
There you go.
And I packed up everything and I said, ATL is where it's at.
God gonna make the moves happen. When we ready or when we not ready, he gonna make the moves happen. He gonna put it right in your lap.
He put it right in my lap.
Yep.
So it was no going back. It was just like, Mom, I'm moving to Atlanta. I found a job.
What Mama say?
Mama said, oh, okay. Well, you got it all planned out. I'm like, yep, I'm selling everything in my apartment and I'm only moving my clothes.
Listen, was this before your daughter?
This was before marriage,
okay.
before my daughter.
Okay, all right.
And then I worked here for about 4 years, and then I moved back to New Orleans because I ran into the same situation again where I couldn't grow.
Okay.
So a growth opportunity came available in
Back home.
New Orleans. And I'm like, okay, well, my assignment here has been completed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went back home and I worked. Baby came, marriage came.
That's when it all started happening.
It all started happening.
You had to go back to get your baby.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what God said. I'm gonna take you back home to get your baby.
Yes.
But it ain't done. That ain't where you're gonna be at. That ain't where, because you gonna be on the Boss Mom Huddle.
Yes.
In Atlanta, Georgia.
Exactly.
Yep,
so, it all worked out because I always said that I wanted to be married and have a family. And it happened in that order because that is what I claimed. That is what I started speaking.
Right.
I'm going to be married, then I'm going to have a baby.
Right.
That's what I was setting myself up for.
Right.
So when that all happened, I felt like I was back in the same situation again. I was an assistant director at that time, and I couldn't land a director job. I was getting the interviews. I had about 60 applications out there. I had 20 interviews, and they were passing me on to the final stage, but I wasn't getting a job. And I was just like, what is going on? And then the last application I filled out for, it was an assistant director in Atlanta.
See, he had to bring you back. He had to bring you back.
As soon as I applied, like within 5 hours, they called me and said, we want to fly you out for the interview.
So were you, when you were getting all of those no's, because this is an important thing, especially for you were a new mom.
Yep.
When you were getting all of those no's, take me through that. Like, how did that make you feel? Was it discouraging? I got this baby now. I have to provide. I have to make a way. Yes, I have a support system, but at the end of the day, this is my child. And it can be very discouraging when we hear a lot of no's, not knowing that those no's are supposed to happen. They're a part of our journey to push us to that next yes. So how was that in that moment before you got that yes? Were you at a breaking point? Were you at a point in your life where, you know what, I'm just going to give up? Were you ever at that point as a new mom?
Well, I'm going to be honest. My discouragement didn't last long.
Okay.
And it didn't last long because the interviews kept happening.
Okay.
So it kept giving me hope.
The hope, okay.
So I don't have the testimony to say that nobody was calling me.
Okay.
Because that wasn't the case.
You were getting the calls.
I was getting the calls. So I knew I had the skill set to draw somebody in to say she has the qualifications. But what came about was I the right fit for the company? And that's when the discouragement came in.
Okay.
Where I was saying, maybe I'm not what they want.
Yeah.
Maybe they saw me on paper, but when they saw me physically, they were like, that's not what we need. That's not what we want. So when Atlanta called me, I said, I'm just not what New Orleans want.
I got to be back in the A, baby.
I got to go back to the A.
I got to go back to the A.
And when I had the interview and the way they were just talking to me and saying, you're worth more than what you think. They were implanting.
That is powerful to hear that from. Wait a minute. Let's go back to that. You're worth more than what you think. Now, was it a sister telling you this?
It was a sister who closed the door and said, don't ever shortchange yourself.
Hello. The most motivation that I've come across in my entire life, I kid you not, have come from strangers, sisters that I don't even know, met for the first time, or just even on social media, will give you the most uplift and encouragement. Girl, that means something to me. And I don't know if it means anything to anybody else to get that type of, reassurance from a stranger, but those are messages that I take personally because they come from God and they come at the right moment. just when you needed to hear it, girl, you just relocated back to Atlanta with this new baby, with your family, starting a whole new journey, again, a new chapter in your life. You need to be around those type of women. So that right there is power in itself.
I signed the offer letter the same day.
There you go.
I didn't need to think about it because that was confirmation.
There you go.
God sent her to confirm what I already knew.
You already knew it. Mm-hmm.
But she just took it to another level. And I said, you know what, God, I'm scared, but I'm going because I feel this is you.
So let me ask you this. So you were already married. Mm-hmm. How did he feel, your hubby? How did he feel about the move and the transition? Because when we make a decision to do that, it doesn't only affect, us and our child, but it also, our support system have a lot to weigh in on that. Like how was he initially?
I commend my husband so much because he took the largest step in his life ever. He was born and raised in New Orleans. And, his friends were there. Like, he was not sold on coming to Atlanta.
Okay. And he never been to Atlanta before?
He had been to Atlanta before for like 2 or 3 years, but he moved back because he just didn't like it. Okay. And that was going to be, actually, that was a decision that I was going to have to make if we was going to go down the road of divorce because I had to choose marriage over a career. Right. But at the same time, I'm not elevating. And if I'm not elevating, we're not elevating.
Right.
So we have to have serious conversations.
Right.
What are you leaving behind? You can always visit your friends, but we can't always make money if we're stuck in dead end positions.
Exactly.
So, he supported it. Okay. Don't get me wrong, but it was tough for him. Because he did not want to move to Atlanta, but he knew it was the right move. Mm-hmm. And he loved me so much that he said, I'm going to trust this. Mm-hmm. We're going to go. Mm-hmm. And then we'll just see what happens. Mm-hmm. We didn't even know if our marriage was going to last at that point. But what he did was he took the step with me to get me set up for success in case it didn't work out.
Hello.
And, I was a mom when I had Alacia, but I became a boss when me and my husband navigated through my journey.
Here he is. Say that one more time. You gotta say that. You gotta say that one more time.
I was a mom when I birthed Alacia, but I became the boss when I got married because I made sure that I chose the man that was my ride or die from the very beginning. Yep. I mean, he was there when I was working 3D11 shifts, overnight, morning, turnaround, before Alacia came. But he understood this is what my woman does.
This is who you are. And it takes a certain type of man to really understand that, and me learning men and through relationships, because I've been married, I've been divorced, and even now in my present relationships, it takes a certain type of man to deal with that boss mom.
Yep.
And not even a boss always having, she doesn't have to have her own business, or she doesn't have to be the top, executive at her job, but just that mindset, that strong mindset, a lot of men can't deal with that.
They can't.
So it definitely takes a certain type of man. And your husband, I can tell he is that type of man. So fast forward to today, he like, yo, I got a bad one.
Oh, yeah.
I got a bad one.
One thing I can say about my husband, he really speaks like so highly of me. Oh. He feels I'm Michelle Obama. And
I know that's right. Look, he Barack.
He's like, this is my Michelle. He loves what I love to do. Mm-hmm. When I feel like I can't do it no more, I'm scared of something. He like, what you scared of? Mm-hmm. There are bosses out here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why you scared? You not trying to be a boss? Mm-hmm. He is the one that encouraged me to be a director because I had gotten so comfortable in Atlanta, where I was. Yeah. I'm like, I'm making a great salary. I'm a number 2, and I don't have to be responsible for everything. And he's looking at me saying, why? No, ma'am.
Maximize your potential, miss.
No, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Why are you just wanting to be a number 2? Why you don't want to have your own hotel, your own property?
So is he in the limelight as well? What does he do?
So my husband actually is a stay-at-home father.
Okay.
And that was the reason why we were going to get a divorce, because he's like, I want to work.
Yeah.
I want to. But he knew that when I moved up, it was going to take some flexibility.
Now,
a lot.
On that note, And that's, if you don't mind, if we could just stay there just a little bit, because I want to really get out there and to really highlight that, that people always have this notion of the man have to be the breadwinner, or the man have to be the one to go out and work every day, where the roles are changing. You know, it's the non-traditional, you know, switcheroo, or whatever you want, however you want to call it. But just to know that teamwork and that foundation that you guys all have, whatever's going to work for your situation is what's going to work for your situation. So you don't always have to, we look at you, or someone may look at you and say, oh, her man must be like a Barack Obama, her man must be this top, you know, we always got to be this trophy to this other higher stature. And when it may not be the case, because there are stay-at-home fathers who do exist, who still make whatever type of income that they make. So everyone the man don't always have to be in the limelight. So just to shine a little bit of light on that. At what point, so he was a stay-at-home father before you guys moved to Atlanta, and when he got here, no, he wasn't? Okay.
He was a stay-home father when he came to Atlanta.
When he came to Atlanta, okay.
He was in construction and forklifting before, when we were in New Orleans.
Okay.
And when I had Alacia, my mom moved in with us, so we can both work.
Okay.
She moved in with us to stay with us Monday through Friday, and she drove home every weekend.
That village. That is that village.
You know, that was the village that I had.
Yes.
And then I said, you know, at some point, this is not going to work, because I need to move, and I'm not going to ask my mom to move to Atlanta to stay with us 5 days. Our daughter became like the center of our world. It was about her and what she needed. And I'm like, if the school calls in the middle of the day, you know,
who's going to be there to get
who's
there?
Who's going to be there to pick up? These schools, if we don't want her to go to aftercare, you know, she needs to get out at 2:45.
Right.
I'm like, my husband could find part-time work. And that's what he's been doing. Part-time work. He doesn't have a full-time job. He has side hustles.
Right.
You know, he does lawn care. He does sheetrock. He gets on the roof. I mean, he knows how to get the money when, you know, he has to help me out when I'm tired. But I didn't want that to be his primary focus, because I knew my job was already demanding, and I can't have two people in the household with two demanding jobs. Something is going to get left behind, and it's going to be my daughter, and that wasn't happening.
Absolutely.
So I always say, you know, you have to make the best decision for you. There are a lot of women that's saying, oh no, they're going to judge this podcast and say, well, that's on her, because I could never. Well, that's you.
That's
this
you.
My wall.
Exactly.
And it's working for me.
Exactly.
And it has worked for 10 years.
And it's going to continue to work.
And it's going to continue to work, because
Exactly.
I'm still blossoming. I'm still advancing. He's still supporting. I'm supporting him when he doesn't feel like he's not doing enough for me. I always assure, baby, you giving me something that no man could have ever given me. That was a dream that I made come true. And I wouldn't have made it come true without him. God blessed me with a partner, and he knew what I needed. And that rib was what I needed. When I look at him, I'm on gold.
And it's not for anybody else to really understand.
It's not, and I don't care.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
You know, some people would be embarrassed.
There's another woman out there that is embarrassed because of that situation.
Don't be.
There's another woman out there that's in that same situation, but just to know that it is okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's whatever's going to work for you and your household and your family, you make it work. You know, and that's the definition of having that partner, not just that man or that body in there. Because raising the children is another reason, you know, why we are boss moms, because we have to manage that raising the children. Who's going to be there for? Girl, picking the kids up, especially down here in Georgia. Now, I don't know how it was in Louisiana, but I don't know what school get out at 2:45.
Yep.
2:45. We were in school till 3, 4 o'clock. Then they're out of school for these ELBC days every other Friday or every once. They're out of school more than they're in, and not to mention when the weather is bad, they shut down. When it's just, y'all need to get tough.
Yep.
These kids need to get tough, because we were going to school in knee deep of snow when I lived in Philadelphia. I'm like, okay, I need school. Okay, school is my daycare. So, but yeah, just to know that it's a team behind being a boss mom. You know, your husband's there, the family is there, your mom's there, and even your daughter, because her going through those transitions. And this is one thing I had to learn about my own children. When I change, when I pivot, it affects them. They pivot as well. And I am so grateful for my kids because they came through it with me. They came through all these transitions with me and changing, switching locations from Philadelphia to Atlanta. They had to go through that. They had to, relocate. They had to get new friends. They had to learn how to live in this environment with just us now. They had to, even when I met my fiance now, they had to adapt to this whole blended family idea. So we don't always think of how it affects our kids, but that's all a part of that, growing a boss mom. Now, how can we manage this? So when it comes to managing your time with your daughter, how do you find that balance, that mommy-daughter balance with her and your schedule being so demanding?
So that happens regardless.
Okay.
Dinner time is very important to us. It's family time. We eat together.
Okay.
A lot of families have gotten away from that. When I get home from work, me and my husband cook together in the kitchen. We prepare the meal. My daughter's sitting at the table. She's doing her homework. And then when the meal is completed, we sit down and we talk about our day. And it's off when we don't do it. My daughter calls it family engagement.
Aww.
I love it.
She's used to that routine now.
Yeah, she's like, we didn't have our family engagement. I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be Chick-fil-A in the car, and we're going to listen to some gospel music.
That'll work. That'll work.
And this is what we're going to do tonight because mommy's just tired and I can't do a meal. But it's also the bedtime, the me saying my prayers with her.
Yeah.
And she's saying her prayers with me, and the kiss goodnight. And then the weekends, it's all about Alacia. Like, okay. Alacia is with me. Grocery store, any runs that I need to do, she's with me. If I have to go to a meeting and she can come, she's with me. If I have an event at work and I need setup, she's with me.
She's with you.
She is with me because she needs to see what a working woman does and what a working boss mom does.
Because she's going to be one day.
And then she always tells everybody, you don't know who my mama is?
I know
and
that's
I'm like,
right.
that's right, baby.
Put some respect on my mama name. Put some respect on it. I know that's right.
And she'll look in the car and tell me, you know what, mama, I don't know what I want to be right now. All I know is that I love God, but I know that you my mama and I'm going to be okay.
Period.
That's enough for me.
Tell your daughter to call my daughter because I need her to put me up like that. Look, my daughter think it's all about her, but I need her to put me up too. So we're gonna get them a little play date or something. We're going to do that. So how is it, how does she, or is she understanding the transition that you are going into with starting your own business now? So mommy worked for a company for the last 22 plus years, but now mommy wants to start her own thing. Does she understand how big that is? Does she understand the power behind, the powerful message behind you now starting your own business?
She does, because like even today, she went to church with her sitter. And she said, I don't even need to pray for you because I know you're going to rock that podcast out. She is very in tune with every project that I'm doing. She gets her happy napper, if mommies know, and she lays it underneath my desk when I have calls with Black women of hospitality. And she says, I'm not going to be a distraction. I want to just hear what's going on.
Nice.
And I'm okay with that because we're speaking all positivity. So she's being a sponge and she's absorbing everything. And when I had my first speaking engagement as Elevated Vocals, she's like, we need shirts. I need a chain that says Elevated Vocals. She's on it. She's like, mommy, you spoke. I want to see the video. Like if she can't go, she always wants to see the video.
Right.
And she was like, oh, mom, I'm just so proud of you.
I gotta meet her.
She is very much in tune.
That is so dope.
And she will tell everybody, if she meets someone nice, you don't want to tell them about what you do? I say, no, this is not the...
Listen, if you ain't gonna market, she gonna market
this
for you.
This is not the environment for that. I don't think that lady wants to hear. She does. Would you like my mom's card? I'm like, so she's very in tune. And I love that because I'm not forcing this on her, but what I'm doing is I'm showing her what it looks like. Kids need visuals. And she sees my down moments too.
Yeah.
She sees when mommy is exhausted.
Right. So you're transparent about
I'm transparent about everything. I don't go hide.
Yeah.
She sees when me and her dad gets frustrated with each other.
Yeah.
We're not going to hide. Because you're going to eventually see that down the road.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have to make choices. And when she sees things, I pull her in and I say, let's talk about why that happened.
Right.
Mommy made a mistake or daddy made a mistake.
That is so important, especially in the home.
Yep.
In the home. I come from a world where it wasn't normal to make up in front of the kids.
Yep.
I've never seen my mother and my stepfather really make up. I seen them argue. I seen them go through things. I seen them fight. But that whole, I apologize, give me a hug, I'm sorry, this was where I was at fault, that never happened. And that's something that, I'm learning in my newer relationships now. Like, hey, if we mess up in front of the kids, it's important that we show them how we get through this.
Yep.
It's not just dad forgiving mom or mom forgiving dad. It's, no, this is the process that we went through.
Yep.
And this is how we get through it as a family.
Yep.
So no matter what, we're going to argue. You're going to argue with your siblings. You may get mad at mommy, but at the end of the day, we're going to get through this and you're going to show that. So I think that's highly important that you guys expose that to her. So I definitely commend you on that.
And it's funny that you asked the question about how do I get my time in with Alacia. Alacia has a lot of functions that she's a praise dancer for her school.
Okay.
She's also a Girl Scout.
Okay.
And these schools, the school that Alacia goes to has a lot of different programs. That's like a no-brainer for me, or I'm not willing to negotiate. When my daughter has a program,
You there.
me and her daddy
there.
are both there.
Yep.
I'm not negotiating that.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to be a memory to my daughter of missing her
Recital or a game.
and she had a major part.
Yeah.
Or, she's saying the Pledge of Allegiance for the award ceremony.
Right.
Those are the things that they remember.
Yeah.
And I push my daughter to work hard and remember her parts and things that she's assigned and to be responsible. So I want her to see that her mama is excited that she completed her assignment, and I want to be there for the performance.
Be the biggest cheerleader in the audience.
I'm not going to just send my husband because, he is the person that fell back. No, I'm going to be there with
too.
you.
But you've also worked to a point where you have the flexibility to do that.
Yes, and I'm very
So,
transparent
yes.
with my boss ahead of time. It's never no pop-up where I'm just walking in saying, oh, my daughter has a program.
Right.
No, I get the calendar from the
Right.
school, and I'm very in tune. My daughter has a appointment on the 16th, and I send a calendar
There you
invite.
go. So you manage it like you would manage any other meeting. Like this is
Absolutely.
going on the calendar.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. And that is absolutely what it takes. So I want to know more about the business that you're starting, or
Okay.
the nonprofit that you're starting. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So the nonprofit organization came about after I made about a year and a half after I was an HR director. And I said, when I finally got into the role, I was like, oh, I've been doing this. So now I'm looking for my next challenge. So I ended up going to a celebrity vision board party.
Who is the celebrity?
Toya Carter.
Toya Carter.
Johnson Rushing now.
Okay.
Yes.
When you said, I'm thinking of when you said Toya Carter. First person I thought it was what's the Toya name that's from here in Atlanta? Oh, she's from Louisiana.
She's
too.
from Louisiana.
She's from Louisiana.
That's her.
That's the same.
And now she's married.
Right, her last name. Okay,
Now
so
it's
that's
Rushing.
That's why I was like, wait
So
a minute.
I always
okay.
say Toya Carter because if you say Toya Rushing, it takes people a little
Lil
while.
Wayne-
But the
Lil
minute
Wayne,
you say
I hate
Toya Carter, yeah.
I
So
hate
she gave a vision board party called Beautiful Bosses.
Okay.
And I just happened to be on eventbrite.com and I was like, oh, what is this? One of my friends had just lost her father and her father had told her that he wanted her to start her business.
Okay.
So I was actually taking her to this so she
Just
can
accompany her to it. And
yes,
just, yeah,
and say,
okay.
come on, girl, you got this. You got to do what your dad asked you to do.
Right.
So, I ended up getting there and I ended up meeting a woman that was in hospitality. Now,
Okay.
out of all of the fields that were there were people that made bath soaps. I mean, they did nails. They were photographers. I mean, but then when I asked this lady to take a picture of me and someone else and I asked her, what do you do? She said, oh, I've been in hospitality for over 20 years. I'm like,
say what now?
okay, Lord, I see you.
I hear you. Right. Okay. I see the purpose. I see it.
So she started talking to me and she was like, your energy, like, we gonna do something. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be big. And we exchanged numbers. Within 2 months later, we had birthed a vision called Black Women of Hospitality.
Okay.
We said we had already knew that we could supersede our goals, but what are we doing for the women that's in hospitality that are still where we were years
And don't
ago
know how to get to
and
where
don't
you
know how
got-
to get to
right,
where we
right.
are? So we said we're going to build a network. And we just started creating an Instagram page, a LinkedIn page, a Facebook page, and, asking people, are you in hospitality? Check in, take a selfie, tell us where you work, tell us what
Right.
you do. And then we say, you know what, we're going to just do it overall in hospitality. We're going to focus on airlines and restaurants.
Okay,
We're going to
okay.
open this thing up.
Okay.
And before you knew it, 6 months later, we had birthed a nonprofit organization.
Nice.
And
Nice.
it's motivating women. And it talks about everything, just being your best self. If you want to own a business and still work in hospitality, we're not judging you because we know it takes multiple streams
Absolutely.
of income to work.
Absolutely.
And if that's what's going to make you be your best self, then do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we are an advocate for these women when they feel like, oh my God, I'm still not moving up. We help them check in with themselves and say, you might not need to change you. You might need to just change where you are.
Your situation, exactly.
And we've
Exactly.
been down the journey so we can tell them. And we're also opening up avenues and doors for them if they want to go to certain conferences, because sometimes you have to have a seat at the table in order to get into some of those conferences. But I'm not here for the seat. I'm busting the door
I
going
know
wide
that's
in
right.
and saying, what you have for my women?
I
Because
know
they
that's
worthy.
right. So do you speak at some of the conferences, or do you do public speaking?
That is what I'm going to be doing with Elevated Vocals.
Okay.
You can book me to speak at your conference.
Tell the people.
Yes, you
go
can
ahead.
book me to speak at any of your conferences, brunches, women empowerment seminars, weekend retreats, or if you need a spokeswoman for your company, I am your woman.
And how can they reach you?
They can reach me on Instagram under Elevated Vocals LLC, or you can just reach out to me directly under Stacia Harvey-Randall on LinkedIn.
I love it. I love it. Now, Miss Stacia, starting this new journey with your nonprofit, what is the plan for that? Where do you see that growing in the next 5 years?
So right now we have about 500 followers.
Okay.
Where we see it in the next 5 years, we will have a Black Women of Hospitality chapter in every state.
Nice. Okay, so it will be like a membership base.
It will be a membership base. It's $25 a month. And
Okay.
what that opens you up to is you will be able to get invited to networking events.
Okay.
You will be able to advertise your businesses. We will
Okay.
have them on our website so people can do business with you. You will also be invited to calls that have speakers that you will not have to pay for. And you will be able to sit in rooms that just a follower will not be able to. Like we're getting ready to go to a brunch that I'm going to be honored in March.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm going to be honored at a brunch in March in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Oh, so you're traveling with it.
I'm traveling with it.
Out.
And if you are an elite member, which is a paying member, you are going to be able to come to the brunch.
Okay.
So if you are an elite member, you will come to those events that are
So
elite.
everything that
They're
you have
open.
a plan for, it will be for your
Absolutely.
members. Yeah, that sounds dope. And those networks, those networking groups, those organizations is what we need as women. The resources, it's there. But what I've learned, it's hard to find. And like you said, especially if your name is not already on a seat at that table, or if you don't have those connections to get in,
Yep.
you need circles like that.
You do.
You need circles like that. And look, see how we met just through, the Boss Mom Huddle. Who knows what God have in store for us down the line, or what type of work we may do. So, I mean, networking is very important. And these organizations, we need more of. So, yes, I will be tapped in. Listen, I will definitely be tapped in. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, I want to ask you some questions.
Okay.
We're going to do something that's called This or That.
Okay.
Okay, just to see a little bit more about Stacia and what she got going on outside of the Boss Mom world.
Okay.
All right, so this or that, rap or R&B?
Rap.
Rap. Ooh. Well, you from Louisiana, so I should have known that. Hold on, who's your favorite rapper? What can we expect if we turn on a playlist by Miss Mrs. Randall? What can we expect?
Well, I like both Lil Wayne and Drake.
Okay.
But the new rappers of today, I like Lil Baby.
Okay, wait. So we got Lil Baby, we got the baby, we got the big baby, we got baby baby, we got baby. Listen, there's so many the babies. So wait, the baby,
Not the baby, Lil Baby.
Lil Baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Quality control, Lil Baby.
Lil Baby with the dread. He got the
yes,
okay, all right,
yes,
okay. So
yes.
it's a lot of babies.
It's a lot.
And I feel old, but I have an old soul because when it comes to music, like you'll still find like Jodeci on my playlist.
Yes, and I
I'll
do
find
like
some
R&B,
Monica
but you know,
and-
sometimes you need
that turn up. You need that.
You know, I put that All In by Lil Baby, and I'm ready to go.
Yes,
That's why when you say
yes.
it's any of this music, I'm good.
Lil Wayne, Amelie.
Yes.
That song,
Yes.
I listened to that
Yes.
song, that Amelie,
Yes.
Amelie. That's motivation
That's
for me.
motivation.
That is motivation for me, yes. Okay, all right, so soul food or seafood?
Seafood.
Oh, yes, give me someone that one. Give me someone that one. See, I knew I liked you. I knew I
Seafood.
That's the crawfish.
That's that crawfish,
That's that
girl.
crawfish.
Yes.
So now I've never had, well, I'm not going to say had a crawfish before, but I've never had a proper crawfish from New Orleans. They say you ain't have crawfish until you went down to New Orleans.
Absolutely.
And I've never had, all the crawfish I had was nasty. So maybe when I go there, I'll try some crawfish, some real crawfish, and somebody teach me how to eat crawfish, but I'm a crab girl. Love me some blue crabs.
Okay.
Gotta be blue crabs though.
Blue,
Have to be
okay.
blue crabs. All right, so are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning.
Morning. You up to crack of dawn? Okay. All right. Well, Miss Stacia, is there anything else that you want to share on the huddle today? Any advice that you would give to any up and coming mom, new mom, a vet mom? Anything you would like to share?
I would say you're not going to be a boss mom right away. I just embraced Boss Mom about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to travel through your journey, because I feel like you have to appreciate your journey in order to get to a boss mom.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that comes with finding your purpose.
Yes.
And there was a time where I didn't know what my purpose was. So now that I've embraced it, now I feel like I am a boss, because
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what I'm going to deal with and what I'm not going to deal with. What are deal breakers? How to negotiate if I want to negotiate, but you have to know your purpose before you can get into
you can
all
do
of that.
You're
And if
absolutely
you
right.
are a new mom, I'm just going to tell you, focus on your baby first. The boss can always come. I made my baby my pride and joy. I lost a child before Alacia came. So when I lost that baby and I received that miracle, I operated differently.
Yeah.
It was all about her. I wasn't worrying about being a boss mom then. I was
right.
worrying about being the best mom. So focus on being the best mom if you're a new mom. If your children have left the nest, I'm not saying stop being a mother to them, but get your goals and your plans together and have a vision for what your boss mom looks like. My version of a boss mom may not be what your version is.
Right.
So find your own version of a boss mom.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Miss Stacia, thank you so much for coming and joining me on this first episode of the Boss Mom Huddle. Make sure you tune in and follow us at the Boss Mom Huddle on Instagram. Also, thebossmomhuddle.com. You can sign up for our mailing list so you can get notifications about everything that we got going on. I also wanted to present you something with some. Let me see if you could grab me. Wanted to just as a parting gift and a thank you gift for coming on our show.
I'm so glad
it's a new
that
platform,
you had me.
and
Yes.
I couldn't have had a better first guest. So we wanted to just present you with. Come
Oh
on
my
in.
goodness!
Token of
Give me my
appreciation.
flowers.
Give you
This
your
is
flowers
awesome.
while you're living, and we are all for
Oh
that.
my
Give me
goodness!
your
Thank
flowers
y'all
while
so
you're living.
much.
So, thank you guys. Join us next time on the Huddle.
Stand on all
I
of
see
your
you, Mark.
business, and when it comes to investments, and baby girl, you the realest.